Evening all. As you can see, I'm at my desk at work on a Saturday night because I'm a complete tool and forgot to do something that had a 7th of February deadline. So I'm here at 7 o'clock. Just got that done. So thought I'd quickly record this. First thoughts that I just wanted to share are that I'm just wondering whether anyone else, when they're in A&E, which is where I was last night, do you ever look at everyone else and just kind of think, you're not having an emergency, or you haven't had an accident, or basically this could wait until next week to see a doctor type thing? Because last night I was there with Ronnie, and obviously you always want to be seen first, and if it's a baby you think surely he's a bit more important than anyone else, because that's kind of what we're like as people. But then I see a kind of 18-year-old lad half limp in to see the doctor, and I'm thinking, you've sprained your ankle, I'm not sure you need medical assistance, and they'll just tell you to go home and give it some ice. And I don't think you really need to be there causing a 3.5 hour wait to see a doctor in A&E. I was just wondering if I was the only person that kind of assessed everyone else's needs when you're in there as an amateur doctor, or whether I'm just a terrible person. So just let me know if that is a normal thing to do, or I'm going to hell. But today's video is actually going to be a bit of a reaction to what I've done today, which is very little physically because I've been dealing with a poorly baby. But it has mean all he's wanted to do is sit on my lap all day. So I've watched a bit of football. Currently, Brentford are playing Newcastle, which I was also going to watch, but had to shoot over here. I see Brentford are currently winning that. Not sure what's going on with Newcastle this season, to be honest. They're going to be at risk of probably finishing bottom half if they carry on the way they're going. They just seem a bit toothless up front, to be honest. And you look at the players they've got, and they should be better than they are, I think. And obviously, Brentford are kind of the opposite. You look at them and you think, how have you managed this after losing the players you lost last season? But the main game today was Spurs United. It's obviously a big one for us here as well at work, because Andrew's a massive Spurs fan. Myself and Will support United, so we were watching that one. I was texting Andrew throughout as well. Obviously, the main talking point was the red card, which I've seen a few people, Spurs fans, obviously, suggest it's not a red card and he's just kicking the ball and it's his normal kicking action. If any of you have actually played football before, you all know that Romero knows exactly what he's doing, and there's no need for him to do what he did. And I think from his reaction, you can kind of tell that he knew that he had left one on him and he'd caught him, and he didn't quite get away with it as he hoped. So I don't really think there can be any complaints with that one. I will say I think potentially the ref was a little bit soft on some of the fouls that United were giving away, especially Luke Shaw. I think he was lucky to carry on without a yellow card after a couple in the first half. But overall, it went as I wanted it to go, and as I kind of expected it to go. Spurs, with Romero off the pitch, they were unlikely to score a goal because he seems to be their main source for goals. I felt like United could probably have got it done a bit sooner. But overall, job done, decent game, and a couple of good goals. So enjoyed that one. And then obviously the main bulk of the game's coming at 3 o'clock. I will say that I think Aston Villa are in, the form they're going through at the moment. They could be in a bit of a spot of bother in terms of staying in the Champions League spots if they carry on the way they're going. Obviously, United and Chelsea are now the form teams in the league. Liverpool have got City tomorrow, which is kind of helpful for Villa in the sense that one of those two or both of them will drop some points. But they don't really, I think everyone kind of saw it coming. They're scoring a lot of goals from places they wouldn't normally score goals from outside the box, from kind of long range efforts. not making loads of chances in a game, and at the start of the season they were taking them, and now they're not as much. The results aren't quite going their way, so we'll see how that goes. To be honest, I can kind of see the top four being Arsenal, City, United, and Chelsea, and then kind of Liverpool and Villa looking at that fifth spot. Potentially, Liverpool have got the players to go on a run as well. So I just think the top six will probably have Villa sixth and those other five ahead of them. And yeah, aside from that, the Premier League's kind of it is what it is now. I think it's starting to kind of take a bit of shape. That top six will probably remain the top six. And then you've got kind of the chasing pack, that being kind of Fulham, who are doing well. Brentford, Newcastle, as I mentioned, should be in that pack, but I'm not sure if they're going to be. And it'll be interesting to see what goes on with Spurs, really, for the rest of the season, whether Thomas Frank keeps his job, which I think I'd probably cut my losses if I was them, but we'll see, because obviously they are kind of 9 or 10 points clear of relegation zone. But you've got West Ham, who seem to have really turned a corner, and you just don't want to get dragged close to that again, and then start prioritising Europe like they did last year, and potentially ending up in a spot above us. So we'll see how the rest of the season plays out, but at the moment, it seems to be taking some kind of shape, and I think that United have probably really turned a corner and hopefully be able to kind of cement their place in the top four. And it does make you think that run of games they had at the back end of November and in December, where they dropped a lot of points to teams they really shouldn't be dropping points to, could really have changed this season and made them almost contenders when you consider how many points they are behind and how many they dropped. But that's why there's a league, and that's the way things go. Everyone drops points, but it was a particularly bad run. A quick point on the rugby that went on today. I know that Italy are much improved, and definitely much improved from kind of throughout my lifespan of where they used to be since they've joined the competition, but I am still firmly in the camp of you can't be losing to Italy. And Scotland, and any Scots that are watching this, you really need to take a long, hard look at yourself, because that shouldn't be happening. And England-Wales was kind of as expected, really. Wales obviously going through it a bit at the moment, and struggling. England are pretty strong, so that wasn't really too much of a surprise. But although, kind of 40 points is never nice having 48 dropped on you. But expected to win. Maybe Wales could have put up a bit more of a fight, but it's better than where they were back before Christmas, if you remember some of those results. So kind of as expected that first round. My prediction was obviously France going into it, but I think France and England are going to be the teams to go with. And it looks like Italy now, if they could play Scotland every week, they'd be very happy with that. The only other thing to mention is obviously City Liverpool tomorrow. I've got a feeling for Liverpool, if I'm honest, but we'll see how that goes. Any result isn't really too much of a bad one for me, being a United fan, because one or both will drop points, so that's always a plus when the top six are playing each other. And then tomorrow night is the Super Bowl. I know a lot of you probably aren't interested in NFL or don't follow NFL, but for those of you that do, obviously it's the big one. I'd like the New England Patriots to win, but I've got a feeling that the Seahawks are going to be a bit too much for them. The receiving group for the Seahawks, very special. Both defenses are obviously have been good all season, and Drake May's been very good this season. The Patriots quarterback, for those of you that don't follow, young quarterback. He's not been as good in the playoffs, but throughout the regular season was kind of seemed to be good for 250 yards, a couple touchdowns every game. And in the playoffs, not been quite as efficient, or not been quite as efficient or quite as good at getting those yards, but we'll see. The Seahawks are pretty stingy at giving anything up, so we'll see how it goes. I'd like the Patriots to win and kind of get back to being the team everyone hates, as they were a few years ago in the Belichick and Tom Brady era. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. Looking forward to it. Always make sure I watch that game every year. As throughout the year, obviously, it's difficult to watch too much when the games last as long as they do. But I always follow and listen to a lot of American sports podcasts to kind of keep on top of what's going on. So yeah, it'll be good to see. Looking forward to it, and yeah, we'll be back on Monday or Tuesday and give you my thoughts on the sporting weekend. And leave a comment so that we can chat about anything that's going on in the world outside of sport as well, because we can hopefully come up with some interesting videos and start a discussion on whatever, because, well, I quite like talking into my phone. See you next week.